Hello and welcome to a Recentered special. As such, we have all been playing Ghost Town. Finally, I've been waiting for Gary and Rog to play this for months, and we've been playing it on PCVR. So here is our brief discussion and thoughts on it. That'll probably end up being about an hour long. So who wants to go first? Gary, Rog?
I haven't yet finished it. I think so. Just before we came on, I did a quick. I looked at a walkthrough video of the Quest version just to see where I was, and I'm about 2/3 of the way through. It looks like. So yeah, I've not quite finished it. I'll probably try and get it finished tomorrow or the day after. But yeah. Both of you guys have played through it, haven't you? So, yeah, I mean, Rog, we could probably start with you then. You've probably got more detailed impressions than I have.
It's called passing the book. So I passed it to Gary.
yeah.
He's passed it to Rog.
It is, and I've run out of people to pass it to. Yeah, so due to this weather, I've been playing it at like sort of between 5 and 7 a.m. over the past couple of mornings. Well, actually, I mean, it's according to Steam, and obviously it's not exact numbers, but this took me about 4.5 hours ish. Maybe 4.5, somewhere between 4.5 and 5. But yeah, so this is by, because you know how pro we are with the details. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's Fireproof Games. Yeah, Fireproof. Yeah. So these are the same people who did the Room VR, A Dark Matter. And if you've listened to the podcast before, you know how much I like that. It's one of my favourite sort of puzzly sort of games in VR. This sort of expands on what they've done before, although in a lot of cases it's quite similar. But basically, it's a narrative adventure puzzle game. I suppose the way people describe it is an escape room game. It seems to be how these games get described these days, but it feels a bit more adventure-y than that, or at least more adventure-y than the games that have come before it, because it's, there's a more of a story than, say, like, I think than the Room VR, or maybe what's that other one we played recently, the Da Vinci one?
House of Da
Vinci, yeah. So yeah, it feels a bit more narrative based than that, because there's actually other proper characters in it rather than just like ghostly holograms, although there are ghostly figures in this as well. And so you play somebody called Edith, who, for the want of a better description, is basically a witch or a medium who can see ghosts or spirits that have been sort of like trapped, and can sort of like free them from the objects that have sort of bound them to the afterlife, and haven't let them move on or whatever. But that's what it, if that's anywhere near accurate, that's...
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So you start the game off, and you're in it's like an old theatre, isn't it? An old rundown theatre. And you're with your brother, who turns out is a bit sort of jealous of your abilities. And you're trying to capture the ghost, or set free the spirit of this ghost that's in this theatre. And it all goes a bit pear-shaped. Basically, her brother ends up disappearing, and then the rest of the game is you're trying to find out what happened to him and to try and get him back. So you end up, the first location, you end up all over the place. I'd not seen much of this game because I'd left it and I didn't look at the quest stuff too much. I know you covered it, Lee, before on one of the podcasts. And
well, so briefly, I couldn't really talk about it because you guys hadn't played it.
It's one of those games that it's a bit hard to talk about without giving any spoilers, isn't it? So
yeah,
we're going to have to give a few spoilers in this. So so if anyone's listening, we're going to give a bit away.
Yeah, not too many though, because I've still not finished it either. Right?
Well, I'm not talk past what you've got to, Gary.
But so you start off on a boat and you're heading to an island for some unknown reason to speak to somebody. You don't know who it is you're going to see. And so when you get there on the island, it's, for some reason, I had it in my head that it's like I'm going to spend a lot of time or the entire game on this island. I'd literally forgotten about the screenshots or bits of video I'd seen, where there's like loads of other quite a few other locations as well. To start with, the first thing that hits you is, this is a nice looking game, and I've not played the Quest version. And as I was saying to you, Lee, earlier today, I think it was, and it was either today or yesterday anyway, that if this game looked anywhere half as good as it does on sort of PC, then that, as it did on Quest, then no wonder the Quest version, people raved about it, because it is a nice looking game. It does, I won't say break down because that's not a fair description. You can see the underlying sort of mobile roots of it visually, but it still looks good. The actual set design, it's just really well done, especially when like later on you're in the apartment. It's just the detail, the little bits and pieces just make it feel like it was done with care. There's this is something else I was talking about with Lee offline as well. There was some magazines at one point, and they're all sort of in reference to, I think it's, when's this set?
I believe it's in the 80s. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, because I think Thatcher gets mentioned, doesn't she, at one point?
Yeah, that's
right.
Throwaway
comment sort of thing. That's it. But there's like a magazine called The Scientific, and it's blatantly, if you remember, if you grew up in the 80s, you might remember an old magazine called The Unexplained, which ran for maybe 120, 140 issues or something, which was all about weird and wonderful things like, Bigfoot and UFOs and that sort of thing. So that's blatantly referencing that. There's a computer magazine as well, which, for my money, is either, I think it must be there was an old magazine back in the 80s as well called the Home Computer Course. As there was another one called Input as well. So I think it's referencing that, probably the Home Computer Course, which was an Orbis or Marshall Cavendish magazine I remember from back in the day. And then there's like electronic magazines and a camera magazine as well, which I'd put my money on it that they're direct references to actual magazines as well that existed. And it's just little bits and little touches like that which really sort of set the vibe. You save games like cassettes. What you pick, what you choose from on the menu as well. But yeah, anyway, yeah. So you end up on an island. You have to get to the top. The first thing task you're given to get to the top of a lighthouse and turn the light on, which turns out to be several tasks and a half. The whole lighthouse sequence as well didn't initially put me in a good mood. I thought the puzzles were just overused. It was you're given a task, you get a puzzle, you figure that puzzle out. You sort of like go up a bit, you get the same puzzle, it's a bit more complicated. Yeah. Then you go up a bit, you get the same puzzle again, that's a more it does it 3 or 4 times. By the time I got to the top, it was like, I thought, what's going on here? That is the worst paced part of the game for me. Once you get past that, it's great. It was just too much of the same thing. It wasn't varied enough, that first section. But yeah, the thing I like about this is the sort of, that it breaks it up with story bits, puzzle sections, more sort of story bits. And it's hard to talk about it without giving spoilers. But, there's a few characters. There's probably, not including any sort of ghostly apparitions, is there maybe 3 or maybe 4 characters you sort of talk to and interact with through the game. And it makes a nice change from, say, The Room or House of Da Vinci. Yeah, and it's just, if you like those games, you'll love this as well. It's not a long game. When I started, I was going through the menus. I saw the hint option. I disabled that.
I didn't even know there was a hints option. I missed that completely.
Yeah. It's when you open up the menu.
That's right.
You've got at the bottom. You've got 3 options, 3 tabs you can pull down, so it gives you a little clue, a bit more of a clue, and then the third one basically tells you what to do. And I must admit, I did use that a couple of times. I used it on the first one because I couldn't work out what to do on the first puzzle.
Yeah, well, I think I've not used them yet, although I wouldn't say I wouldn't if I'd remembered they were there. But what I will say is I think the puzzles, to me, feel like really well balanced to the point of the a little bit overwhelming. Some of them that I've seen where you've got, there's a lot of stuff to do in a room, you don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
But once you've found one sort of into this whole room full of puzzles,
yes,
the rest sort of falls away then from that point. And I think they're really well balanced so far.
The points you've got coming up, Gary, what I played through, because I think where you've got to, what you were saying just before we started recording this, the place you've got to is basically more or less just before where I started playing this morning, and
Mhm.
yeah, there was one room I got to in there, and it reminded me. It's not a spoiler because it's not saying. Yeah, it just reminded me of the Room VR. There's a witch's cottage section in that sort of thing,
Yes,
and
yeah.
it just reminded. It was just the items in there reminded me of that location. And
Oh, I don't know why I'm saying yes. I didn't play the Room VR. I was thinking you were talking about House of Da Vinci then at some
all right,
point, but
okay.
yeah, I'll
But
mix. Yeah,
well, in all honesty, actually,
They all kind of blend, don't
yes,
they? Really.
it's very yes. There's a parts of Da Vinci where what were similar as well. Um,
Mm.
yeah, and you walk into that and you think, oh wow, I'm going to be in here an hour. And you sort
Yeah,
of look round, and then you sort of like you say, exactly like what you say. You find the starting point, and like what 10 minutes later, I'd finished that room. It was
mm.
a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. It's just
I
as
know which room you
detail.
mean, Rog. Yeah,
It's so
yeah, it's
much
very
detail.
detailed.
Yes, it's just so much detail. You think there's possibly going to be more there than you think, and it isn't. It doesn't keep you stuck in one place um, overly long, and that's what I like about it. Where with say the Room or Da Vinci, you set in some of those like locations. You could be in for like, especially I think it was Da Vinci, where you could be in like a one of the locations for maybe an hour and a half or something.
Yeah,
Where with this it keeps you moving sort of forward. Yeah, I don't think I got overly stuck at all in this one. The if you as long as you take note of of the stuff around you, if you've played those games and finished those games, you know it's enough of a mindset to put you in the sort of frame of mind you need to be in for this, and it's it probably just helps. And yeah,
yeah.
there wasn't anything particularly difficult. Like you say, the few points where I might have sort of stood there for a minute or two thinking, what am I supposed to do here?
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, it clicks because these locations generally are each room is generally sort of what you're wandering through is probably self-contained. It's a lot generally smaller than say the room where, for example, in the room where you're in the church area, there were multiple rooms in that church you could go through and sort of go backwards and forwards between and take items between those rooms. Where with this, you don't do that. You might have a large room, but you're not having to go back to another room or a slightly
No,
different
no.
area. Everything is within there, so I think it helps a bit more.
I think that's why, as well, a lot of people will describe this overall as like an escape room type of game because it really is that, except you've got this thread of narrative, which is much, like you said, Rog, it's much stronger. The
Yeah,
narrative in this game is much stronger than any of the other of those types of games
yeah,
that you'd play in the past. One of the things I mentioned to Lee yesterday, actually, and it's been a long time since I played this game, but it reminded me a lot of the Gallery, the Call of the Starseed, that first game in that
the
episode by
first
Cloudhead
yes,
Games. And the reason is because this is set in the 80s, that one's also set in the 80s, and it's got that kind of that narrative thread, but that effectively is the same thing as well.
yeah,
Where you've got like an area that you've got to effectively escape from, but then you've also got some really well crafted NPCs, and I think there might only be one in Call of the
there
Starseed,
was in
if I
that first
remember right.
episode. There was,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But in this, you've got more NPCs, really well animated, really well voice acted as
yeah.
well. There's a lot. I think there's a lot of similarities, but it's been a long time since I played the Gallery, so I could be wrong on that. But it just the whole vibe of it feels similar to that game, which is a big compliment, really, because I really enjoyed that game. It was one of the first ones that I really played through, and it's got those puzzles, but that strong narrative as well. And this one has exactly the same as that.
Yeah, that's yeah. You're absolutely right with the voice acting and well, I'll say animation. It's motion capture, and it's just
Yeah.
that which is just so much better than you know. It's I get sort of annoyed these days when I play a game and you can blatantly see the characters just being like hand animated or whatever. It's like. It needs to move with the time, and in VR when you've got an actual motion captured character, it just looks so much better. And yeah, these are just really.
It makes
well
you
done.
connect with them more, don't it?
Yeah.
I mean, because I felt I quite connected with some of these characters pretty much. I mean, you don't actually see your own character, do you? I don't think.
No.
Or you might see her in reflections or something, but some of the others, it makes it more engaging, doesn't it? Especially when you first start off and you go into your like flat. Is it something like in London or something?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's in
you're part of a supernatural duo, aren't you? As such, one of them's very techy, and she's sorting all that out while you go out and do all your witchy stuff.
The weird thing. It's not much of a spoiler because you found out earlier on anyway. But you actually work for the government, don't you? I can't remember if there's a name for the department or whatever. But sort of like the supernatural, it seems to be in this world, seems to be a known thing. I don't know if the public know about it, but I think it seems to be like the government probably cover all this up and hide it and stuff. But yeah, it's just really well done. We were talking about there's another location, isn't there? Without giving too many spoilers,
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's just a place where you sort of wander through at one point, and there's lots of little items and details and things you can interact with.
Oh yeah.
And again,
Yeah,
you just sort of think this has been, it's been done with care. They've enjoyed doing it. They've enjoyed making it.
That's one of my favourite parts of the game.
Yeah, and I know that part because you told me the part where you go, that's one of your favourite things. So when I got there, I was thinking, okay, let's see what this is all about. And you're absolutely right, because when you think about it, you're there probably I don't know even how much game time you're there, and maybe you return there later on, I'm not sure, but you've got like 30 minutes maybe in total. You've got like a flashback and stuff. But it feels like they've rendered all of these different locations that look fantastic, and it's not the whole game. You used to, especially on a Quest game as well. This came out on Quest. You think they're doing all of this stuff. They're rendering all of these different things, these little novelties that you can interact with in that particular area.
Yeah.
And maybe you go back there and you can return there and do some other stuff with them. I'm not sure
You
yet.
don't.
But no, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like such a major thing to just have as a throwaway little section where you're there for 10 minutes.
I spent ages.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just walk straight through that and do whatever you've got to do in some of the puzzles. But instead, you'll know exactly when you get to it. Interact with everything you see in this certain room.
I did, yeah. And that's the thing as well. I think you sort of alluded to this earlier, Roger, as well. It's like the different environments. You're not just in one location for a long period of time. Yeah. You solve the puzzle, you move on to these different locations. So the amount of variety you've got in this, and you're absolutely right as well when you were talking about the detail, especially in that flat. You could just wander around that flat and just explore that flat for a little while. One thing I'll say, though, is the interaction is minimal. So go into this game with the expectation of you can't interact with pretty much anything. Your hand will go through things. You can't knock things off tables or anything like that. They've kept the interaction minimal. And I think we mentioned this when you discussed this on the podcast, Lee, as well, on the Quest version. And I'm of the opinion, like on a Quest game, it's more understandable that you would have that just to limit the amount of like physics and CPU usage and stuff like that, just to keep performance up. It makes perfect sense. On a PC game, it's not ideal, but I've got to be honest, I don't miss it. It doesn't make any difference to this because it is so strong on that narrative as well. So it would be great if it was there, but it's not.
The thing is, though, these locations are that flipping detailed. Can you imagine if you could just interact with everything and throw everything about? It would be absolute chaos.
Yeah.
It's just the little things that just do make it feel so 80s. And there's like an envelope on a table with a stamp on it, and it just looks as weird as it is to say. It sounds, and the envelopes look like 80s envelopes. I know it sounds daft, but it just everything.
I know what you mean.
Everything looks right. Unlike something I don't think we've mentioned, unlike the the room, this is free locomotion as well. I think there's teleport if you want it, but this is full free locomotion, which like the Room VR and Da Vinci didn't give you. They were teleport from puzzle to puzzle, where this allows sort of full exploration. It is quite easy to see where there's points of interest because you'll get a little circle up here, won't it? On like something you can specifically look at, and you'll hit a button and she'll give like a bit of a voiceover at something you're looking at. other things that you interact with puzzle-wise, you do have to sort of reach out and grab things and see what there is to interact with, what you can pull or turn, levers and stuff like that. But yeah, it is very good. It's just I did have to get past that lighthouse section at the beginning.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the journey up to that and everything, the part of the game, the first part of the game that leads up to that, is really well done.
Oh yeah,
and I get what you mean. Once you're in that lighthouse and you've done a few of these puzzles, and you think, it does keep on going a little bit longer than probably would be ideal. You think, this has got to be the last one that I've got to do before I get into the next section. But having said that, even that, you look back on it, it's like, even to the point I've got in the game, and you just think that's, again, another rendered location that they've built up from the ground up for that one section. And you've got this all the way through. I think, you don't see this kind of stuff too often, I don't think, in VR games like this, where they put all these resources into creating really realistic, well-done environments that you're there for a very limited amount of time. And it's a linear, it's sort of guided. It's very much a guided game. So, like I say, you've not got these interactions and stuff, and you do have this, like Roger said, where you've got these little circles that will appear on points of interest where you have to go, and that that's the next section you've got to interact with. This is the other thing. It's like on the one hand, I think it's guided, and maybe some people will think, well, it's too guided, it's too limited in that sense. On the other hand, there's never a moment of frustration. I've not been frustrated yet in this game, which is weird for a puzzle game like this, really, where you want to get through. But yeah, I mean, I've not been frustrated. I've just been enjoying the environments while you're there. And I think they've done a really, really good job. And I played through the first 30 minutes on the quest. Lee, you played all the way through it.
I did it all the way through, all the way through, yeah.
But one thing I'll say, and I think we spoke about this yesterday as well when we were talking about it, the graphics, although better, they are better on PC. Of course they are, and they're sharp. You can ramp up the super sampling on virtual desktop, whatever you want to do. You can get it looking much better, and it does look much better. But it looks astonishingly good on the Quest as well. And the difference between the two, from what I'm seeing, is really in clarity, in the textures on certain areas as well, from the Quest to the PC version, and maybe lighting. I'd say lighting as well is obviously better on the PC version. But overall, I think on both platforms they've done an exceptional job. Yeah. So I know we're gushing a little bit on this. Is there anything? Has anybody got any negatives on this?
Yeah, smooth turn on it. It's like, please, developers, and this goes to every developer, don't just make an option that says slow, medium, and fast, and then have the fast option be way too slow. I had to play this free turning. I couldn't use a smooth turn; it was too slow. It didn't make me feel ill, but I'm sort of sensitive enough to it now that if I use it and it's too slow, I can feel that it will. It feels like, that's just not quite right. So I had to play free turning. It's give me a slider and make this, the top end of the slider enable me to spin round in like a second, which would be too fast for me, but it gives me a scale. I normally set, if I've got smooth turning and I can set it to the speed I want, I set it to a speed where it normally takes me about just maybe 2 seconds at the most to spin round in an entire circle. And that's pretty much fine for me. It wasn't massively slow, but it was slow enough that it wasn't fast enough, and it wasn't comfortable for me.
Same. Same. I mean, just do a slider. Just make it ridiculously fast. I don't care if it spins me around as if I'm orbiting the planet at that kind of speed. As long as I can turn it down to whatever speed I'm happy with, just make it stupidly quick. Everybody will do the same. Have it on a slide and they'll just knock it down a little bit. Or that's still too quick, knock it down, and they'll find the perfect spot and they'll just use that.
Yeah.
When you've got it slow, medium, fast, like Rog says, it's set at those speeds. You can't alter them.
Yeah.
Whether it's slow, medium, or fast, it's still no good for us. So
especially when the fast speed isn't fast enough.
That's about all I can moan about on it, to be honest. That's it.
I'm trying to remember. There was something else, and I can't remember.
Well, one of the things I was going to mention, I think performance is very good. I mean, I had some issues with my router. It was nothing to do with the game yesterday when I first went into it. So I just had to reboot my router and everything's fine now. But there are a few sections, and it's only very few sections now I'm finding, where there's a little bit of a performance hit that you might notice on some PCs where there's all of these effects that go on in certain supernatural sections, very short sections anyway.
Yeah.
But sometimes that you can notice a little bit of a slightly lower frame rate, but you're generally static in those areas anyway, so it's not a big deal.
It's a bit of a weird one because I think you can definitely see it when I looked after you'd mentioned this earlier when we were talking on Discord. But yes, there's like it's more noticeable when, say, you have one of the sort of like apparitions or ghosts appear, when there's like transparency effects or particle effects going off, and it's for me it wasn't actually affecting the frame rate of me, the visual, my perceptual frame rate of movement or rotation or whatever. It was my hand. If I looked at my hand, I could see the frame rate had dropped on my hand, but everything else, including walking forwards or head movement, space warp or whatever it is, was taking care of that. It was fine. But there were just sections where I'd look at my hand and I could see, I'm losing frame rate here. And if I brought the virtual desktop overlay up, it wasn't a lot. It was just dipping into it was literally going from I tried it at lock 72 because I tried it at 120 to start with, and then I moved to 72, and I think at 120 it was probably doing it more, but at 72 it was a lot less. But it was just dipping down to like 69, 70 from a lock 72, and it was just causing which made it just visible if I moved my hand.
Yeah, it's only just, and I was playing at 90, and it's like when you play at 90, it will drop down to like 89 or 88 when I was looking for it with the overlay, virtual desktop overlay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a lot, and honestly, it's. I was complaining a little bit about it yesterday, but I suspected it was my router that needed a reboot anyway.
To put it into context, it was way less noticeable than, say, playing a PSVR 2 game at 60 FPS reprojected. Nowhere even anywhere near as bad as anything like that. I just remember what my other bugbear was. Okay, click to run. Right. Okay, so it's pretty much standard. If you've got like a click to run thing, it's normally on your left analog stick. Or if you're playing, like, say, a game on a joypad on flat screen, it'll be click your left analog stick to run because that's where your movement is. On this, you're obviously moving with your left analog stick. To run, you have to click and hold the right analog stick. It's like,
I didn't even know there was a run.
Yeah,
I didn't even know there was a run.
It's like, and it's not even a toggle. You have to hold it. It's like, so now I've got my torch out. So I'm moving with my left hand with the left stick. I've got holding my torch and gripping that with my right hand and having to hold in the right thumbstick. I'm using one button too many here. It's like I should just be able to click the left analog stick once and then run until I say stop running.
Yeah, well, that's odd because I didn't know there was a run option either. I mean, there's nothing to run from in this game. So I don't know why that's there, to be fair. Take that off and put all your time and effort into increasing that smooth turn speed instead.
Well, that's why I was thinking, there's not a run because I was clicking the left stick. Although No Man's Sky, bizarrely, is also on the right stick. That's a toggle, though. But No Man's Sky also is on the right stick. But I was thinking, this game, it's like a slower paced puzzle game anyway, so they've simply not got a run. I just assumed it was that bit.
But even if you don't swap it over to the left stick, just please make it a toggle. There's no need to hold that button down.
No one likes holding the button down. It makes it more awkward when you're moving as well at the same time.
Or just give me, I don't know. It just seemed a bit bizarre, that. But that's all I'd say that's... I can't complain about anything else, really.
No.
The run thing was useful in the fact that, unlike the other, like, say, the Room VR, you can't just instantly with that game, you just used to instantly teleport between the puzzle locations, didn't you? So you could quickly, if you're trying to sort a puzzle out, you could quickly zip between here to there, here to there, here to there. Where with this, there were a few locations where I was running around the room, especially with the lighthouse thing, where you're running through that central thing, where you rotated the central section in the lighthouse, and you'd run round to pull a lever to go back to see if it'd work.
That's right. Yeah.
And so if you're running back and forwards between that sort of thing, being able to move faster between the
there's
two.
longer corridors as well that you
Yeah.
have to go through at
Yeah.
various points. But
Yeah.
again, they do. I think they've done a great job overall on this, and
Yeah.
it's definitely like a stand. You notice this. This is the thing. It's like when a game comes out like this, which is there's it's sort of raising itself above the general level of certain other VR games that come out on on a weekly basis or whatever, and it's noticeable when you get a game like this, and it really does a great job.
Well, if we had more things like this, it'd stop me moaning for one. Because this is the type of thing that I've missed. I got harp on back to PCVR all the time, and this came out, like Gary said, I mean, it came out at a time where I was struggling with VR a bit, and then this come out, and I was like, so they can make games like this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like a total breath of fresh air, and there was no bugs. And that, I'd been playing a game where I had to stop playing because of the bugs in it, and you get this come out, and it's like, well, so you can make a game without bugs then? So that's what I want now. I want high-quality games like this without bugs. It's cinematic. I mean, we spoke about it. Gary said it gave him like Goonies vibes, because it's like 80s themed and that.
It's the same, that's what I was talking about as well with the gallery. It's like that same kind of like 80s movie Spielberg type thing.
I think, we like our 80s stuff, don't we? Let's there's no getting away from it.
In the 80s, it's going to get a thumbs up straight away, no matter what it is. But it's such a good game. I mean, I loved it. I played it over 3 nights, and I said to you guys, this is one of the best games I've played. It's easily my game of the year so far, on Quest especially. And when Gary and myself were talking earlier on about the graphics differences, whereas, it is definitely noticeable in PC, it doesn't detract any way from the Quest version. The Quest version is
it looks
simply
great.
stunning.
It looks great. Yeah, it does.
When you play that and you play Gorilla Tag and tell me there's no difference.
But it seems like it's a full recommend anyway from all of us, isn't it? So,
Thanks for listening, everybody. And enjoy your holiday, Gary.
Thank you very much. Off to sunny Wales. So we'll see how that goes.
Nice.
We're going up to Snowdon. So I don't want to bang on about all of this now. Anyway, we finished the podcast. So let's get it done. So,
Yep. Cheers, everyone.
See you next time.
Take care.
That's something I didn't mention as well. I found that a bit strange because she can sort of like mentally sort of gets projected, doesn't she, into the sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, that into the sort of spirit world,
thing,
whatever.
Yeah.
And apparently her torch gets spiritually projected into there as well because she can still use it.
Oh yeah, no, mentioned I never really used it. There were some parts where I'm like, this is so dark I can't see anything, and I forgot that I'd still got that torch. Well, I mean, I didn't even speak about the fact that it doesn't like start you where you've like abruptly, oh, right, you've got this puzzle to do now, you've got this puzzle to do. It leads you up to it. It leads you up, don't it, from the car park up to your flat. It leads you up to the bloke's house from outside where your brother interacting with you saying, let's break in and all that shit. But we didn't mention it with the house, but that's the part where I thought, this game's brilliant. When you got to chat around with all that stuff that they didn't have to do.
That's the thing, because you go through that section where it's like a flashback. You go into the house first, isn't it? And then all of a sudden you're there with he's got to be a baddie. He's got to be a baddie. That guy. Well, he's not a good guy anyway, I don't think.
No, he's trying to do something with the mask, isn't he? He's trying to get the power of it and stuff like that.
He pretended he gave it away, even though your brother stole it. At the time,
Cool ass warlock. I mean, just to say, right, I'm taking all this shit home just to put it in my house, just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He seems to have all this dangerous stuff just hanging around in his living room.
Yeah, just his main foyer. You take your shoes off, mind the dead witch's hand and the teleportation device as you come through.